So, MachineZone, Kate Upton.
Yeah.
What's the status with Kate Upton? So the buzz that, according to, I think it's Dean Takahashi's been writing about maybe switching Kate out for Mariah Carey. Is that true?
I think there was just some rumors about some of those things, but overall, what we have been trying to do is reach our demographics and our target audience with different kind of innovative messages. Like for example, recently we are working very closely with Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
We're excited. He just won the UFC fight this last Saturday. He's been a great supporter of the game. He's been working tirelessly on some of the creative content that we worked together with him. And he was kind enough to promote the game. He's playing the game. And there are a lot of other kind of ongoing things that continue to go on.
Great. So, Kate Upton?
No, we're still working with Kate.
Great. Okay. No. So seriously. So Deepak, I mean, you guys have done an amazing job, and as I've been reading Dean's coverage of what you guys did 2 years ago, creating in a competitive landscape that we're seeing,
sure,
one of the most popular games. I think it was number 2 or number 3 in terms of ongoing top-grossing games, right? Game of War. Can you talk about how you acquire users? Right,
sure.
Right, because how do you do that?
A lot of it, we started off with modest beginnings. We have been on the platform for a long period of time. We started off on the iOS platform in Jan of 2009, and have been trying to figure out, we are a mobile-first company, and a lot of the stuff that we do is around performance marketing. We want to be able to track it, measure it, and then iterate and continue to manage it. So part of that is we do a lot of our user acquisition based on data-driven, ROI-based buying. And the attempt is to share, to get the right message to the right audience at the right time, in the attempt to try to have them try our game out and or get our, if they haven't played our game in last few hours or last few days, try to get them re-engaged back into the game. Mm-hmm. And it's just doing it day in, day out.
Yeah, and I want to open this next question up to both of you. But so you launched. So you spent months working on this game, right? It's kind of unprecedented, and you launched 2 years ago, and then the business team is supposed to kick in and actually make revenue, and it's a huge scale. And was immediately at that scale. And so you guys have got some of the most sophisticated BI tools out there. I would imagine. But 2 years isn't a long time to actually come up with something, and especially even last year you were buying at scale. But I kind of wanted to ask both of you. We've seen this change in conversation around just pure installs, to start looking at the value of the customer, sure, the lifetime value, but also looking more at the cost of the acquisition. Could you talk a little bit about what you've learned, both of you, and maybe this year, what the trends are of ROI calculations on user acquisition?
For us, what we have been looking at, what we have tried to look at, it's not necessarily easy, but with better tools, mm-hmm, both outside tools as well as internal, is try to find the value of an engaged user, rather than just a user or an install. And a lot of outside companies are doing great work, have good, interesting products. Some of them talked about it over here, as well as 2 years back, when we looked around, there were some other things. Some of the stuff is homegrown. And it's a combination of working with some outside partners and internal to really try to find what is the best ROI, mm-hmm, and look at a users and our campaigns based on just what the value of an engaged user is.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think what's interesting, which you had noted earlier, is messaging that user at the right time, in the right context. You have to ask yourself, how are they able to do that? And that's part of at least where MoPub thinks about the business and thinks about driving user acquisition on behalf of marketers like MachineZone. you have to take a look at mobile as a medium, and what's been really interesting about mobile specifically is that you can actually get down to a unique device. And what's great about mobile specifically is that we actually can capture unique data signals that allow marketers like MachineZone to drive cost-effective installs, or even if you're doing a branding campaign, you can actually learn more about that user, the context of where that user is based on location. He had just mentioned to me before we were backstage how important carrier actually is when you think about targeting a user, because a carrier on X network may not be worth as much as on Y network. So those are the types of data signals that MoPub is facilitating through the partners that buy on behalf of MachineZone, so that they can drive cost-effective installs. So it's not core to what we do, but we believe that the data transparency and the signals we pass allow them to be advertisers in general to be cost-effective in how they go acquire new users.
Yeah, great, thanks. And I understand you guys have a partnership, so, and it's one of the reasons why you're here together talking about this. Deepak, can you talk a little bit about so the MoPub Twitter and then the ecosystem and how you think of it and how you would recommend to the audience about how to approach programmatic buying and ad buying in generally? How would you do that?
So there are two pieces. There is an overall ad buying, and then there is within that programmatic buying. I think it's growing, possibly one of the fastest growing segments.
You'd like to think so.
Yeah, it is. And it provides great ROI to marketers such as MachineZone. But at the same time, there is a lot of overall, the mobile space is fairly fragmented. Mm-hmm. There are a few hundred different traffic sources, depending on how you slice and dice them and how they represent themselves. Many of them, they have small pockets of good inventory. They may be partnering in some manner with the likes of MoPub, but they also have other forms where they work in direct deals and so on. So one part of it is like there are a few hundred different partners that we work with, because we are able to get enough of a value from those traffic sources. Having said that, there are probably a handful, like maybe about 10 to 12, who are driving enough scale. MoPub clearly being one of them. There are a few others that we all know about. And that's where probably I would say they're each at 5 to 10+% of the overall share. Mm-hmm. But the overall landscape is it's massive. It's over 300 different advertising partners who are selling their inventory.
Yeah. Janae, can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing on your side in terms of the publisher developments, right? Because what we've seen is just this move to 8 or 10, or I don't know what the 80-20% rule is here in terms of the game industry. But you've got a couple of dozen big companies, and then just a big kind of trail off in the long tail of smaller buyers. Is that scale and business intelligence that these guys have developed allowing them just to take over more of the market? And where do you see that kind of evening out over time?
Sure. So I think there's two components here. Yeah. He hit on a couple of them. One, which is data, and then the combination of scale. So when we think about the MoPub business, we think about scale as it relates to the audience and the reach that a marketer like MachineZone can go out and pursue. So we have 31,000 apps. We reach a billion unique devices. Data is only interesting when it's at scale. So I think the combination of those two have allowed marketers like MachineZone to be successful, but we've seen that across the ecosystem, and that's not true for just these guys who are doing performance-based and brand-based buying, but other advertisers as well can come into the space and really build out unique and scalable campaigns in order to deliver on their KPIs. I think the other thing that at least I'd share with this audience to consider is when you're thinking about buying programmatically and buying via real time, when you pick your partners, you have to make sure that your partners I think there's probably 3 key tenets, right? You want to have trust and transparency with your partner that you're working with, because if you're not getting the right data signals, if you're not getting an understanding of the business model, you're going to have a really hard time driving cost-effective installs or performance KPIs that are core to your business. And then the second piece is, especially in mobile, if you don't have a mobile practice or a mobile expertise, it's not easy to transition from another channel seamlessly into programmatic mobile RTB. Mouthful. But it's as complicated to say as it is to do, so you really want to have a mobile practice and expertise. And I think lastly, not all partners are created equal. So, Deepak had mentioned they have a number of partners they work with, and it's because not every DSP that you're going to work with is going to deliver a singular, or for that matter, a set of KPIs that are for every campaign you have. So working with a few trusted partners that can do something for you in mobile and meet those metrics, I think would be kind of my thoughts on how to go out and be successful in this particular space, given all the fragmentation that's out there.
Facebook, that's another conversation that's come up over the course of the last couple of days. And again, Dean Takahashi's been doing some great reporting on the latest changes happening there, where on November 4th, they're stripping away certain information on device level attribution. And big game companies are kind of upset by this, or at least that's what we're hearing. Can you talk a little bit about how important Facebook is for your business and what these changes mean for you?
Facebook is a very important partner of ours.
Yeah, excuse me.
And they're a very important partner.
Roughly, what is it? 25% of the market in terms of
I don't
driving
know from
downloads?
an overall market standpoint.
Okay. But I mean,
I do know they work
with
with thousands of advertisers from all over the world. They do have a very good reach, and they do have very good targeting capabilities. People do they have massive reach, massive scale. People spend a lot of time in them. So they are a very valuable and important partners of ours. We are working closely with them as to how, I think, based on we haven't come out with all the details, but based on the information that we have thus far, there will be some mechanisms so that marketers such as ourselves can continue to measure. So we are working closely with them in trying to figure out what those measures are. Completely understand it's their product, what they feel most comfortable about.
Right, and one of the fallouts has been that, or the assumption is the BI tools that you guys have created to do a lot of the analysis will be kind of rendered less useful. So how do you respond, and are there other alternatives that you can have to actually help?
No, I think in comparison, MobileBeat is a great example where they are an open RTB, very transparent, providing a lot of information so that it helps us bid appropriately. And they are a second price auction, so it helps us bid our full expected value for that impression. So as a result, the publishers are maximizing their revenue. And that's really important. There are several publishers that I have known about where on the MobileBeat platform or other similar platforms and things, but especially on MobileBeat, the rate at which it's been growing, they have more than double, triple their ad revenue in the last year, which is terrific.
Yeah, and then that intelligence, because Janae, you were talking about the data that you're having, right? So in this open platform, you're allowing all this new data to come up. Can you talk a little bit about that and where the information that you have too, Deepak, in terms of after this Facebook move, the intelligence that you have to maintain a competitive advantage versus, say, your peers versus your competitors.
Sure.
And Janae, maybe you can talk about the data that you're getting and how that helps you have a leg up on your peers. But maybe starting with you, Deepak.
I think, the intelligence or the targeting capabilities so that one is able to one shows the most relevant ads.
Yeah.
Is there in different forms on both different platforms, on Facebook as well as on MobileBeat.
Yeah.
MobileBeat is just more open about it.
Right.
They're more transparent about it. So as a result, it gives us the ability to target a more relevant ad if we know something about this person. Not this person, but this device, which makes it helpful. If we know they are on an older device, or if they are on a connection that is not the fastest connection, we can send simpler ads, not heavy, rich video ads or things like that. There are a lot of other different kinds of things that we can do so that the revenue is maximized while it's still the best user experience for the end publishers, their user base, and does not hurt that experience.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, Facebook aside, their platform is very different, and they're a publisher, right? They have their own first-party data. They should decide how they want to use it and how they want to apply it and share it with marketers. The difference for us as an exchange and as a core ad server is we aren't a publisher. Our job is to simply service publishers, provide them the flexibility to use the data that they have on their own user base and surface that in a meaningful way, whether it's for direct ad serving or to pass it into the exchange so that a buyer like MachineZone can actually transact against it. So I think we think about it a little differently than some of the other folks in the ecosystem. And it's one of the advantages I think we have is because our platform is flexible, we really can work with a number of different partners, anyone from a marketer to a DSP to even folks who are perceived as competitors, but really are actually partners of ours because they facilitate revenue for our publishers and are using our mediation solutions. So I think the flexibility and the transparency is something that has allowed us to work with a number of different parties and play equally well and friendly with everybody in the sandbox.
Great. And so mobile video, this is another thing that's kind of the theme for 2015.
Yeah.
Now Kate Upton, right, has just been seen everywhere, right? So you had the Super Bowl, you had TV ads, you had obviously in-app ads,
Sure.
or excuse me, videos. I said ads, but videos. Can you talk a little bit about the lessons you've learned since you started that campaign? It's probably one of the most visible out there in terms of.
Sure. I mean, there are a lot of different things.
Mobile video.
Overall, I would say in mobile videos, there is the content is so rich that we see that users spend a lot of time engaging and spending time completing the view, so on and so forth. And then after that, if they find it compelling, they are clicking and potentially trying the game out, or if it's a re-engagement campaign, potentially coming back. So from our standpoint, it is not just something that is, it's a very crucial and important part. We have little over 70 plus different kind of mobile video ads. It's again going back to the same theme, trying to target the right message in the form of an engaging video on the mobile platform where people are spending more and more and more time. That device, the mobile device, is never more than 6 feet away from us 24/7.
Thankfully.
Yes. And it's okay to step out of the house without your wallet, but not without your phone. Mobile video just helps us from in really being able to give targeted messages and in a rich format, similar to what television did 50 years back. It's just an extension, and the reach is much, much greater than what we have seen with TV or other kind of things.
Great. And Janae, what about video for you?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Well, one, it's a great format because it's bringing so many different types of marketers to the mobile ecosystem. We were talking about this earlier, which is, go back 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and we'd have these 320 by 50 static GIFs at the bottom of, an app we were using, and it was leveraging only one thing, which is site. Now you look forward to where we are today in 2015, and you have this really rich canvas that marketers and even performance advertisers can leverage as well, which leverage all your senses and allow for an engaging experience. And I think what's really interesting, especially for the gaming industry, is you can show the user what that game experience is going to be like, the way a movie trailer might.
Right.
And for us, I think the second component that's exciting is it's bringing in TV and studio budgets from a branding experience, which is certainly new and a shift that we have been pushing for. And I think with the advancement in formats and creative landscapes that we've provided, we're starting to see that come to fruition now, which is super exciting.
Yeah. Could you talk about some of the brands that you've been working with?
Sure. I mean, we've got these guys up here, so we're working with them. MoPub specifically doesn't work directly with advertisers. Our core base is demand-side platforms, and they're facilitating ads from anyone from Samsung to AT&T to other game developers. So it's a really wide breadth of folks that are really participating in the mobile programmatic space. But the shift in budgets, I think, is what's really exciting, is to see that mix between brand and performance.
Great. We're kind of closing out on time. Do we have one question from the audience? One question, because I saw one guy get in a question when time was out last time, so I want to make sure we do it during the time, because we're right at the end of the day.
Got 21 seconds to ask it.
So no one's going to ask the question. I'm going to ask the question. There's like $1 million being made a month by you guys. According to the estimates out there, you're not public about this at all. And also $1 million essentially being spent on ads to actually drive this. And so one of the questions that's been out there is, how much is the spending kind of driving your business versus the business driving it? In other words, Dean reported on some rumors that you're raising a big round. Can you talk a little bit about the need for cash to invest in the business, or whether the growth is then being fed back into further demand for ads to drive? Just wondering which one's driving the business and whether you actually need to raise that cash.
Sure. I would say we have been doing this with Game of War for the last 2 years, on this platform, on the mobile platform for the last 6 years. And the fortunate part with all this is, because we are doing ROI-based buying, it's really predictable. We have last 6+ years of data. And
so it's profitable.
Unfortunately works. It fortunately works really well. The market trends are changing. A lot of the things that we talked about, where I would say it's actually a lot better tools that are available today. The market is more transparent than where it was 2-3 years back. The type of creatives that are available today that we can message to our users is a lot better. And that's really exciting times. What desktop went through in probably 10+ years, mobile is going through in less than 3 years, possibly last 2 years. So it's really exciting time to be in mobile. And it's happening at the same time as users are starting to spend a whole lot of time on mobile.
Great. So you're investing. You would, if you were raising a round, you'd be investing in the opportunity. Not to put words in your mouth.
I quote Mary Meager and say, user spend, look at the time and the dollars spent on mobile. If someone was to invest and put cash into the business, I think it would be a smart investment.
Great.
It's a bet I would place.
Fortunately, we're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us today, Deepak and Janae.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, great.